Thank you for the introduction, and hello everybody, or maybe I should say ni hao, because I'm going to talk about the Chinese part of the international businesses. My name is Einari, and I'm heading this international business in the entertainment space. So, Nordic TV, as we call it. I'm going to talk about a little bit what is it, how did we make it happen, some more details about the actual implementation, and then, of course, take a little bit of a look to where are we heading to, and then kind of a short summary. So, you might know that Elisa is a telco. We have networks in Finland and Estonia, also the leading IPTV services. We have been for some time actually investing quite a lot on the content side, which is visible actually in the original series productions. So this year we are releasing, I think, 7 new TV series as original productions where we are involved from the beginning. In our domestic markets, we actually call our entertainment strategy content first. So 3 years ago, we started to think or look about international business opportunities that obviously should come from somewhere where we have some, let's say, in-house expertise and there's a kind of a background to build on. And one of these that we selected was the entertainment space. And then we started to explore different markets. We pretty soon made the decision that let's look into China more carefully. Why? For the kind of obvious reasons that, of course, it is a big market, it's growing, but then basically on the field studies we have conducted, it actually showed as well that there's really kind of a underserved consumer segments. Basically, there are niche segments, but as a big market, niche segments could also be interesting. And therefore, we selected to proceed with that one. We created this concept we call Nordic TV, which then brings this interesting content to the Chinese consumers. So what is then Nordic TV? We're actually talking about video on demand library, which now is as a category in our partners' service. Our bold first target was actually to launch our own video on demand service in China. But when we looked at the big guys like Disney struggling with that approach, we then selected to be a little bit more humble and start step by step and then kind of through the partnering model start learning about the market. And it was actually nice to hear in the previous presentation about the lean startup method. That's actually what we have been also using and experimenting and learning and drawing insights. Unluckily, we're not in the same position with data as maybe in our domestic operations, so there we still have a lot of room to improve. But anyway, we are now having launched last December with content from the 20 different producers, distributors, broadcasters. To do that, we actually, with a team of half Chinese and half Nordic people, screened around 3,500 hours. So people did some serious TV watching, I could say. So we selected then 600 hours. It says here best, but I would say most suitable, because not everything fits to China. There's all kinds of rules. And then definitely we wanted to create a catalogue of a certain composition. And like it says here, 50% is movies and TV series nowadays, and 40% is then documentaries, realities, and then we have something else. Where did we kind of get these percentages? We actually, when we decided to, after the field tests, to go to more in depth into this, we actually did the pilot in Shenzhen area with at that time potential partner, where we offered a smaller catalogue of content as a Nordic TV category, branded category. in their service to the real end users, consumers in their network, and then really followed up, and we had kind of several things that we wanted to follow up. Of course, we wanted to know what are they interested for, but we already knew that actually they don't know that much about European content. If you asked a Chinese consumer to name 3 movies, he will really struggle. So we needed to understand how to educate and kind of inform consumers in the right way. So we did this pilot, and based on that, we actually then, our first hypothesis was that this type of catalog could be good and interesting. These are just some examples of where the content is coming from. Then we, of course, have a small trailer to show a little bit of what type of content is there. So let's see. So this was a small snapshot from the documentary side of things. Quite happy to present this here because I think there was many familiar sceneries, I think. But anyway, we kind of have used both the documentaries and the TV dramas in a different way than what we have in our home markets. And the documentaries are something that is easy to digest and start with in that market especially. So then how did we make it happen? So basically, first we had a lot of partner discussions, different types of partners. Then we found one which is actually a company owned by a state-owned media company, who then actually is the media company of regional cable TV operators. And this was kind of looked a good way to start with, a little bit easier start than just going directly to the OTT side of things. And definitely also because of the reason that we wanted to also create in a way more than just a few titles mixed in a big service with tens of thousands of hours of content. We wanted to have our Nordic TV somehow visible and established. And then, therefore, we need to make some partnering choices. So here's some examples. Of course, China always boasts big numbers. They have over 220 million households in the network. But when you go to the practical level of things, even if China outside looks like one country, it's a lot of regions and provinces, which actually even have different censorship rules and customs and cultures and interests. So basically, when we started last December, we started in few of these regions, and now we are gradually rolling out new ones. I think we have now 5, and we aim to have 10 in the end of the year. So it will actually take some time. That is another kind of a learning from the Chinese market that it's really not a kind of a quick win in this way of approaching it. Some kind of first learnings from the launch. So in the pilot, the nature documentaries were actually really the most popular content. That was a little bit surprising in a way, but it's something that is associated to when you ask a Chinese consumer about the Nordic countries, what comes into their mind is the nature, pure things. And then the other side of things is that as you have many different types of regulations, it's also an easy way to start. So you don't have so much to worry about if there's some sceneries that don't fit or something like that. It's kind of easy. But after the launch, definitely and not surprisingly, Nordic Noir has become the most popular content in our joint service. And if we look at one example, so we launched Arctic Circle actually in mid-April, just a month ago or so, with some marketing and things. So it's a crime series situated in Lapland, has nice, beautiful sceneries. It was actually quite easy to agree to get good marketing and spots and visibility on the big screen in the households for this type of series. And in a few weeks, it's actually climbed to be the most popular TV service in the service, and actually also bypassed some of the Hollywood big, great TV productions launched more or less in the same time. So kind of just proving that the Chinese consumer doesn't really know. They watch what is promoted to them if they like it. Of course, the kind of knowledge is really quite limited still. So then a little bit more technical part. So if one big thing in the workload was about kind of course, agreeing on the content side, selecting it, the other part of the implementation was the localization. We needed to localize everything, kind of simplifying Chinese subtitling. So we had actually selected 2 partners to help us in this. And one is Chinese, one is actually US-based company. Both used machine learning and then post-editing. We gave the easy part to the Chinese company, so basically content with English subtitles as a starting point, and we gave the jackpot to the US company with the Nordic languages, Finnish especially, and with all kinds of dialects and things like that. But then, nevertheless, we of course knew that, there will not be the same success rate for all languages. Basically, English and Chinese are easier. There's a lot of volume behind. Machine learning is kind of a learning there, but the others are more challenging. So we're still actually quite happy with the success rate, but so far have achieved this 30 to 40%. It's kind of it's reasonable, I think. Just some more examples about what kind of challenges were there. So when building the content catalog, we mixed, because in China, of course, most of or all of that content is new. So you don't have to have everything the latest and greatest. So you can do like something which is really recent and mix it with some few years back, as long as it doesn't look old. And this resulted us in a nice challenge of script and template accuracy. So we basically had to do quite a lot of manual work to twist and tweak and make the starting point of the localization reasonable. And then some kind of small details, like even if you think you are translating from a Nordic language, you might end up finding really many different languages in the content, which created quite a lot of challenges to the localization. So there's some examples. So basically, how much needed like pure editing power to do the localization. And if you look at the numbers, so this kind of a 30 to 40% success rate is there. Not surprisingly, if you take drama and Finnish language, that's going to be difficult. So it has kind of a lowest rates, and you get a little bit better with the Scandinavian languages. But the other hypothesis we had, that as we go, this process actually took like, I would say, 6 months. So as we go, that the rates get better. So if you look at these numbers, actually on the drama side, it got worse. On the documentary side, it improved a little bit. So actually, at least in these volumes and this time scale, the machine learning, we didn't really see it happening. So it will take definitely much more time than what we predicted in the first place. So what we are then thinking about as next steps, of course, we need to work with the rollout, new regions, new provinces. That will definitely be the kind of priority number one. As I said, I think we will reach maybe hopefully 10 regions by end of this year, and then end of next year more or less have like a, in a way, nationwide coverage. Not every corner of China, but all the biggest areas of China. The middle part, reaching higher penetration among the consumers or viewers, is definitely the most important part. And this we do with the lean startup method and experimenting and trying to get better in a way that now our experiments last a little bit too long. It take maybe from a few weeks up to 1 month, and we would need to get down significantly on the time, have a better speed on it. And why I say what is the challenge there? I was in envy looking at the previous presentation about all of this data, and of course we have that data as well in our domestic markets. But here, one other angle to the Chinese market is that from some of the regions, we actually get really good, accurate data on a weekly basis or even daily basis. From some parts of the country, different technologies, we actually only get maybe something every month and very limited. So then how to kind of really develop the business in the dark, it's quite a challenge, so we need to really work on that one. When I say that experimenting is of course about what content is interesting there, but not only that, what kind of marketing works. So in China, I think all know that social media is really advanced. All different types of social media, advertising, campaigning, things are something that we are trialing there. Even if in our case and service we actually don't have ads here, but it's a subscription fee-based service, definitely that is a way as most of the Chinese TV market is actually funded outside of the, let's say, traditional market. So definitely that is something we need to trial somewhere as well. And definitely we're in discussions with some new partners to kind of go through outside of the cable networks to kind of make it even more interesting. And these are the kind of focus areas that we have now. So just in a summary, in the entertainment space, we're really looking into the international opportunities which are not network related. And why I wanted to show this slide, we have some other initiatives as well, but we're really open to partnering and looking for more partners in this space. So definitely if you saw something interesting or think that there's something that we could kind of partner with, please come to talk to me and let's have a word and see if we can find something to do together, because I think that in the Nordic countries we're quite small in the big market out there, so we definitely need to collaborate. Thank you.